let's talk about Social Security for a minute. So, a couple of things I want to point out for women because this is something that I think women need to understand. Your benefit for Social Security is based on your highest 35 years of earnings. If you don't have 35 years, then every year you don't have is a zero. And when they're going to do is they're going to take that average and, they're going to factor in all these zeros that you were staying home taking care of the kids or your parents or whatever the case may have been. And, you know, that is why women's benefit is on average about 80% of what men's are. So let's talk about some things when it comes to Social Security that you may not think about. So, a lot of times people struggle with this. And if you are going into retirement as a couple and you're trying to determine when to take Social Security, I want women to understand that there's things that you need to think through to make sure that you're protecting both you and your spouse here because if your spouse is the higher earning um, spouse in the marriage and you are taking benefits early, we've already said that if you have two people over the age of are already collecting Social Security, let's just put it that way, and one of them passes, the survivor gets the higher of the two and loses the smaller one. If you are the higher earning spouse and you take it early, then you are making that decision for both. So if your husband is the higher earner and you took time out of the workforce to be a caregiver and you didn't earn as much, understand that if he elects to take it early, he is making a very important decision for both of you. And you really want to understand that. And you really want to have a conversation around that. Like, is that the smart thing to do? If he is wanting to go ahead and take it at 62 and take a 25% reduced benefit for life, he is in effect reducing your benefit as well and the benefit that you would get to keep if he was no longer with us. So understand that if that's the case and you still feel good about it and you want to do it, that's fine. But I just wanted to make sure that we point that out. And each year that he delays past age 62 all the way up to age 70, that benefit is going to increase by 6 to 8% per year. And so that is pretty significant. And again, when he locks in, he's locking in for both of you. So definitely something we need to understand there. The other thing that we see a lot of is that women don't understand that the spousal benefit. And the way the spousal benefit works with Social Security is if you get to retirement and your benefit, and I'm speaking to the women, your benefit is less than your husband's, then you have a choice to make. First of all, if your benefit on your own working history is less than half of what your husband's benefit is or will be, you can, instead of electing your own benefit, you can not elect that benefit and choose to take what we call the spousal benefit. That is half of his. Okay. Do not leave money on the table here. If your benefit, because you took time out of the workforce and you were a caregiver and you did all of those incredibly important jobs that need to be done, taking care of the children or your parents or whatever the case was, which is extremely admirable, and I commend you for doing that, then you get to retirement and your benefit's $800 a month. your estimate that you're looking at when you went to ssa.gov and created an account and pulled your latest estimate down and looked at it, and you see it's about 800 a month, and your husband's is, looking like it's going to be about 3,000 a month, then you would not want to take your own benefit. You would want to opt for the spousal benefit, which would bump you from 800 to 1,500 a month. So be careful with that. The spousal benefit is important to understand. It is an option. A lot of times, what couples will do is you can take your own benefit at 62 and let him not take his. Let him wait till 70, and then you can overall maximize the lifetime benefit by pulling that strategy, if that's enough income.
Right. And one important caveat there, nice little reminder is if you can take the spousal at 62, you don't have to wait till full retirement age, but if you do, it's going to be delayed. I have a question a couple weeks ago. A wife emailed me and said, hey, I just started Social Security. She started at 63, and it was, she's like, it's not half. And we had talked about it, and she just needed a reminder, but you're going to be reduced if you take the spousal early, which is fine. And it's still fit for her plan. It's still the right decision, but just understand that when you get your first statement and you're like, wait, he's making 3,000 and mine's only 1,200, right? It could be reduced by a little bit depending on how early you go.
Yeah. The way it works is, you have to wait till full retirement age to get half.
Yeah.
So if you go earlier than that, it's going to be half, but then it's going to be reduced because you're going early.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the other thing that we see that women aren't particularly aware of is the survivor benefit. So the survivor benefit is incredibly important to understand. And I know this was a huge deal for my mother. So, the way the survivor benefit works is if you lose a spouse, and we see this all the time, if you lose your spouse at an early age, a lot of women don't understand that, you do get the higher of the two, but you also have the ability to take that at age 60. Okay. Most people don't think they can start until 62, and most people can't. But if you are in that unique position of having lost a spouse and not gotten remarried, then you can go ahead and start survivor benefit. Now, it will be reduced, but you can get it at age 60. And sometimes that can be critical because that extra 2 years of income can be a really big deal. So understand that the survivor benefit can be started at age 60 if you lost a spouse. The other thing is, if you are divorced, you can claim against your ex-spouse. And a lot of women miss this. So if you were married for at least 10 years, and that's the magic number, 10 years, you may qualify for 50% of your ex-spouse's benefit. Your claim does not affect your ex-spouse's benefit in any way, and they don't even know that you're claiming against it. They have no idea. You don't have to contact them. You don't have to notify them. There is nothing like that. It's just your right as their ex-spouse. Okay? So important to understand that because there could be money left on the table there if you're not careful.